Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, I'll once again take a look at one of your designs you recommended me on Mod.io. And for today we're looking at another small fighter that's more for aesthetic reasons than it is for functionality, and it's simply called the Freya MK1, which is this lovely thing sitting right behind me. So this is another atmospheric fighter ship, which is sitting in space once again because it's much more easier to showcase with how the lighting works. I've landed it down onto a wooden platform because it's much easier to showcase all the moving parts around this vehicle. That's what I'm going to do right now before we go any further. So grabbing hold of my character, coming all the way up to this, and this is partly why it is a atmospheric only ship. I suppose you can fly it through space, and you can actually fly it through space thanks to all the hydrogen thrusters around this thing. Because the cockpit is not sealed, simply sitting there. Now I'm going to get free camera once again. So bring up the HUD, we've got three controls on this thing. One is going to be the cockpit to open it up. There we go. And we do have a secondary moving part on the front right here. So this is going to be our central control station, which is simply a programmable block. We have to move the lid back down again. It slides forwards, it folds down, and then shoves in your face the radar script. And of course, we've got some more scripts on there, which is a custom script. We'll take a look at that a bit later on. Now we're looking at like so once again. Press number 3, slides forwards, folds up, then the canopy lifts up as well. Putting it back down and pressing number 2, this could be for our side wings right here. So as you can see, we've got our wings on the hinge, then a landing leg to actually clamp it down and hold it in place to make sure it doesn't wobble around and throw you off while you're on the planet. So pressing number 2, down it comes, and then the landing leg will just clamp in place automatically. And there we are, we now got a flush wing, and we just move it back up once we land it down. And then finally, what I've got to do now is bring up the HUD, press number 9 to undo the magnet plates below the ship. It's now time to press number 8, which is going to retract up these landing legs right here. So with the camera like so, pressing number 8, they simply fold up. Then press number 9, lock them in place, and once again, like the side wings, will stop them wobbling around. Putting them back down. There we go, now the ship has lifted up, so I've got to move it back down once again. There we go, pressing number 9, locking in place, and that should do quite nicely. And that's all the moving parts around this vehicle. So unlike the showcase request I did last time, the middle section does not move forwards and backwards. This is completely static on this one. It's simply that central console. I'll just move all the way forwards and up, and of course, all of that. But anyway, yes, moving the camera all the way away, like so, pressing F10, finds in the spawn menu, the Freya MK1 is 1,596 small blocks, using a bunch of the DLC packs and a couple scripts. We see up to here a nice bit of information about it, such as all the controls on each tab. So we've got number 2, 3, and number 4. Number 4 is going to be that custom script we saw in the cockpit, where we can change a secondary screen to show miles per hour, kilometers per hour, and other bits of information. Down towards the bottom, we then got its specifications, a nice bit of information all about it. Then down at the very bottom are the scripts it uses, and where we can see a custom dashboard script, artificial horizon, turret-based radar, and power graphs. So giving this thing a thumbs up, we're going to be around towards the very front, have a quick look around the outside. So we're going to go through the controls, take it down to a planet, fly around for a bit, and then that'll be that. So over here, what we can see is a bunch of blue armoured panels that make up the main bulk and colouring of this vehicle, apart from a bit of black and white here and there. Up and above there is a top-mounted camera, so we can actually precisely aim our autocannons, but we do have 4 of them sitting right down here, so we see 2 there, and a sneaky one right there, and right there. We also have a bunch of hydrogen thrusters to help move you around in space. We do have some atmospheric thrusters on here as well to help you out on a planet. And we also got 2 standard cameras on the left and right hand side, so if one gets shot off, you've got plenty of reserves. Move around onto the side, so we can see our landing leg right down there, on its columns that come up to a hinge, that fold all the way up as we saw at the very start. And across here, there's our white, there's our black, because the bladder block spelling the Mark 1. And all the way over to here is the first of a few atmospheric thrusters. Like the previous showcase request, we've got some armor panels clipping through the flat atmospheric thrusters, where we can just about make out the middle point, the actual center point, just sticking all the way through, like so. Yes, across to here we've got a gap in our wing, we've got some light panels shooting out a yellow glow. Onto the side here is our folding wing section, with our landing leg that just clamps down onto the side of that gatling gun. Moving all the way up, past this section and looking around over here, we've got a top-mounted gatling gun. Onto this section we then see a hydrogen tank, a lab hydrogen tank, hydrogen thrusters for your left, right, and to help you move down. Then towards the back of this thing, here we come all the way around, a light on the end of that column. Across to here, does look like I'm a bit wonky, maybe not, I'm not too sure. Yes, we can see a prototech jump drive sitting on the edge there. Across here, here's some more atmospheric thrusters. There's 2 interior lights to also give this area a nice yellow glow. Across here, we see a bunch of small atmospheric thrusters, a bunch of small hydrogen thrusters to help boost you around. Then one hell of a lot of gyroscopes to help keep this thing nice and maneuverable. Down to here's another prototech jump drive, one will be on the opposite side on the other wing right there. And then down below here, there's your compact beacon, there's your rear landing legs, and we'll see even more hydrogen thrusters on the opposite side. Yes, onto the opposite side, there we are, prototech jump drive, hydrogen tank, bunch of hydrogen thrusters, large atmospheric thruster, and of course we come back over to the middle right here. Moving all the way up and looking down, past this section, all the way across, we've got 2 prototech batteries to help give it a nice bit of power, blue beam blocks coming all the way across on top of this lab hydrogen tank, where we can see 2 white ones on the left and right hand side. All the way across, more hydrogen thrusters to move you down, there's the hinge to lift up the canopy to get inside the cockpit, there's the atmospheric thruster on the opposite side, also with an armor panel on top. And as we come all the way across, there's that top mounted camera, and towards the very front here, there we are. Then moving all the way down underneath it, clipping into the floor, here we go. And I've got to get a bit closer here, and while putting on my lights, there's a bottom of 4 of our auto cannons with a cap on the bottom of them so no sneaky person can come up below this thing and just yoink out all your ammunition. Across here, there's your landing leg, there's your atmospheric thrusters, hydrogen tanks, gyroscopes, even more hydrogen thrusters, a connector to dock this up with a camera right next to it, and all the way across here towards the back, there's the bottom of our central lab hydrogen tank, there's our prototech jump drive at the back with all the gyroscopes clipped onto the sides, and onto the wing section, here we go. And there are the other lab hydrogen tank, more hydrogen thrusters, cap on the bottom of it, hydrogen engine up and above there, another prototech battery on these sides, there's your bottom turret, there's the hinge for the wing to lift it up and down. And I believe I have covered everything on this. There is a lot going on with this, a hell of a lot going on with this ship, so I've probably missed out a few important pieces of detail here and there. But nevertheless, it's a fantastic looking ship for what it is, and should be bloody glorious to play around with in creative mode. Of course, in survival mode, it's going to be pretty difficult to actually build this thing up because you've got prototech stuff on here, so you would have to spawn this in and pretend you grabbed it yourself, or just fly around in creative mode, do whatever with this ship. But yes, now what I'm going to do is grab hold of my character, first person view, here we come all the way around. I'm going to start on tab number 4, because this is going to be through a custom LCD screen we see on the left hand side of our radar script. So pressing number 1, that's going to change the screen, there we are, to a much more simpler one, where we can see our average speeds. Pressing it again, we get the time of day, and other fancy stuff. Can't really make out too much going on, other than miles per hour in the dead middle, but we can change that with number 3 and number 4 to switch it to kilometers per hour, if you want to do that. I personally like having it on miles per hour, because that's what I'm used to in the UK. Then on number 2, we then change our little aiming reticle type thing, as well as our gravity, over to this. I'm not too sure what that is actually for. It looks like it is maybe cargo space, maybe even some kind of fuel gauge. When I was testing this out, I couldn't actually make that function correctly, so I might be missing something important. No, we just turn that off, go back to that, and everything's fine. On the background, on the right hand side, we then got our power graphs, and all the way down there we see our target locked. Down below here we've got a typical hydrogen power usage, being currently blinded by the sunlight. Up and around. There we are, and suppose for good measure what I can do is go back over to here and press number 3. There we go, slice all the way forwards. And there we are, we've got a better look down here so we can see our artificial horizon, which was hidden behind that. And really is, that's a very clear view of what's going on with those LCD screens. Putting that all the way back. Third person view, pressing number 2, putting our wings all the way down. And now it's time to go through all the other controls. So number 1 is with your autocannons, fire them all together, and make a nice hole through this platform. Number 2, number 3 is what we've already gone through, which is your side wings and your cockpit. Number 4 is then for your atmospheric thrusters, 5 for your hydrogen thrusters, number 6 is for your gyroscopes on and off. They've got prototech jump drives to actually jump. But of course I can't do that because I'm actually on the grid, so undoing that, and then relaying this away from the platform and just moving it up slightly to make sure I'm not going to be interfered with. So going like so, that should do quite nicely. In fact, turning on the dampness so it don't float away. Pressing number 7, I can jump 497.93 kilometers, which is bloody good stuff for a small fighter. Anyway, number 8 we've already gone through, because that's your landing leg down below there, as well as your magnet plates to clamp them in place, so then they come all the way up. Pressing number 9, now they're firmly in position and won't wobble around. On tab number 2 is your hydrogen engine, your connector below the ship with the camera right next to it, you got your truss lights on and off, you got your interior lights on and off, you got your turrets, turn them on and off, your O2HU generator, your reactor, and then finally your antenna on and off. On to tab number 3, we then got our beacon, got a top mounted camera, our prototech jump drives to turn on and off, and as for that, that's it for all the other controls. So all we've got to do now is fly this thing around, and before we go down to a planet, we'll just really show you this in space. So moving forwards, coming to a stop, moving left, right, down and up. As you see, we can move this in all directions, but we are going to be quite slow. So you do have that option to fly it through space if that's what you want to do. But no, I'm going to grab hold of this and then head down to the Earth-like planet. So here we go, I'm on the Earth-like planet in the desert once again, moving forwards. And well, as you can see, back with the atmospheric thrusters turned on, that'll help greatly with this. We do have a nice little speed right behind it. Coming to a stop, does leave a lot to be desired, but then again, this is not for functionality, it is for aesthetic reasons. We can always do a 180 to make it stop a hell of a lot quicker. There we go. Moving left. Right, again, we've got some nice speed with that. Moving down should be helped by gravity, so that it's going to be bloody fast. And then moving up. There we are a little bit slow. So if you are moving down very quickly and you are close to the ground, do be very careful about that, because you probably won't have enough time to actually pull all the way up, and well, you just blow up the vehicle. Moving this thing around, here we go. It's going to be a little bit odd, because like last time, got a lot of moving parts on this thing, so it tends to be a bit juddery, a bit weird, and can act quite funky every now and again. But other than that, it's got a nice little control over this thing, a nice little bit of weight on here, so it's not too overly responsive, that a lot of small fighters tend to go for. Yes, first person view once again, driving this voice, we can actually see the LCD screen down there actually moving around, tab number 4, switching it to kilometers per hour, there we go, back to miles, press number 2 again, still doing nothing, and we go change that one, there we are, back to this, there we go, and look on the opposite side, we see our power graphs kicking in, down to here the radar's not picking up anything, putting on my HUD, there is absolutely no enemies around here, oh there is an enemy around here, moving around, ignoring the few bits of juddering here and there from the cockpit, and we're just going to fly around a bit more. So I've been driving this around for a little bit, coming all the way over to here, just to make sure it was behaving correctly when I tested it earlier, and yes it was, this seems to be perfectly stable, a few scary noises here and there, but no, it was perfectly fine when coming over to this thing, and this is how we're going to end this video. I'm just simply going to attack this pirate salvage facility, and see how it goes, although I'm fully expecting it to blow up quite quickly, due to the fact it does have exposed hydrogen tanks. See if we come all the way across, the turrets have been set up, I made them target weapons, that's always a jolly good stuff, and I made one turret actually target rockets, which I always forget to do, that does make one hell of a difference. See if we come across, we're now going to start attacking, there goes the rockets, straight to the side, one of the hydrogen tanks already see jump drive has been damaged, I'm going to fly backwards, luckily the turrets can shoot behind us, so it doesn't matter if we're trying to escape from the enemies, we can still keep blasting into them, but it looks like the cockpit has been partially damaged, that has saved me a little bit, can I still open and close that? No I cannot, but I can still slide that backwards if I want to do that. Just have that all the way back and push away the canopy. Now I'm going to come around it once again, just slam straight into them. So yeah, she's flying over that facility. I seem to have done a relatively okay job against them. Yes, I did take a lot of damage, but I was fully expecting that to happen. Because like I said, exposed hydrogen tank are a big problem for ships. Being this ship is going for looks over functionality, that's still perfectly fine. I believe that is completely loose and just wobbling around. Yes, now I'm just going to come all the way across it. And just slam straight into it. And I do have guns on here that I can use if I want to do that, so I'm simply going to blast straight into them. There's that rocket launcher. And all the way across. And there we go, nice big explosion. I'm still in the cockpit. The cockpit is still alive. Hopping out of this, what's going on? And, well, made a nice big hole in the pirate outpost. Looks like part of the ship is remaining, although it's not recoverable like the other ships I've slammed into it. But did make a nice opening in the base to be able to come up to that cargo container and steal all their stuff. But no, at the end of the day, it is a fantastic looking ship, it's got a nice little functionality with it. I do highly recommend downloading it, checking it out yourself. But do make sure you do spawn it in space or close to the ground, otherwise that will happen. Yes, I was not intending to actually do that, I was hoping to actually hop inside and fly around for the outro. So anyway, there'll be a link to the description below to which you download play around yourself, highly recommend you do. I'll be back with another video somewhere soon. Bye bye.